Hello, welcome back to the channel. Sumi here. I hope you're doing well, whatever you are. In today's episode, we are discussing a story that has sparked a lot of debate online across East Africa. Reports claim that Somalia's deputy prime minister was denied entry into Kenya over questions surrounding a Kenyan passport. And ladies and gentlemen, if these reports are accurate, this raises serious questions, not just about one individual, but about how passports are obtained and whether corruption within some African institutions allow people to acquire documents they shouldn't have.
So today,
Yes.
the government has deported Somalia's deputy prime minister, Jibril Abdurrashid Haji, after JKA immigration officers allegedly linked him to the fraudulently acquired Kenyan passport. You know, we've talked about Kenyan passports being given foreigners.
Yes.
So now, this is a deputy prime minister. He has a Kenyan passport. So we were asking,
How did he get it?
how does he acquire Kenyan
How
passport?
did you acquire the passport?
And you're
That's
the
a big
PM
question.
for
Yes.
another country.
For another country. And now you have a Kenyan passport.
Yes.
And that's what you're using to travel with.
Yes.
Because now this one raises a lot of questions, even when Kenyans are traveling to other countries, because we are on high alert now. When Kenyans are traveling to other countries, they have to really scrutinize your passport because of such breaches. We had issues about who was getting passports. We had some controversial leaders who actually were named as people who have acquired the passports. And this one is a shocker, like a prime minister for another country. And I don't know where that leaves our diplomatic relationship with Somalia.
I think it's a very difficult situation because how can a deputy prime minister of a nation own Kenyan passport? Who gave him Kenyan passport?
Exactly. And he has the audacity to use it.
Yes, in Kenya.
Yes.
So there are so many people, and we've always said in the Standard that there are many people who are being given, dished out.
Controversial people.
Kenyan passports.
Yes.
And they're warlords in this East Africa.
Yes.
And we don't want our passports to be given to other people.
To be tarnished.
And this is the saddest bit of it all.
Yeah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we go further, I have a question, and this goes direct to my African brothers and sisters. Hearing such an incident, are you shocked? Are you shocked to hear such a story? Because I'm sure some of you have already witnessed such stories from different foreigners coming to these African countries, and they end up having passports of countries they are not even citizens, or they don't even belong. And you would literally ask yourself, how did that happen? You find citizens not having passports for their own countries, but foreigners are literally having passports. And you would ask yourself, how did this happen? You know how the system works.
Somali deputy prime minister was deported from Kenya for having a fraudulent Kenyan passport. The deputy prime minister had a fraudulent Kenya passport, and that's why he was deported. So he flew into Kenya off a diplomatic Somali visa, and they had suspicion that he had a Kenyan passport for some strange reason. So after interrogation, he admitted. Jabril Haji. Yeah, Jabril Haji admitted that he had a fraudulent Kenyan passport and that he's not giving it up. He's not surrendering these documents to the Kenyan officials. He said, no, we the only way I will produce these documents is in the court of law. And he never even communicated to the Kenyans how he was able to obtain this fraudulent passport. So they sent him back to Mogadishu. Is it Mogadishu? I don't know the correct pronunciation. But yeah, can you believe it? A deputy prime minister with a fraudulent passport. What does that say about the country? What does that say about the country? I know countries are corrupt. These government officials are corrupt. But to have a fraudulent passport of a country that you're supposed to have been, okay with, like cool with, yeah, that's crazy.
Why did Kenya deport Somalia's deputy prime minister? Somalia's Deputy Prime Minister Jibril Abdirashid Haji was reportedly denied entry into Kenya and deported after arriving at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. According to sources, immigration officers questioned him over allegations that he possessed a Kenyan passport believed to have been fraudulently obtained. Officials say Haji entered using a valid Somali diplomatic passport and a Kenyan visa, but was later flagged after the alleged passport was discovered. Sources claim he acknowledged having the passport but refused to surrender it, insisting that any dispute should be resolved through the courts. He was reportedly held in the airport's VIP lounge before being escorted onto a flight back to Mogadishu. Neither the Somali or Kenyan governments have issued an official statement explaining the incident. However, a senior Kenyan foreign ministry official reportedly confirmed that Haji had been deported. The reported deportation comes just days after Presidents Hassan Sheikh Mohamud and William Ruto met in Nairobi.
All right, welcome back once again. In case you've watched these videos up to this point, I'm thinking you are enjoying every single bit of this video. And yes, also let me take this opportunity just to welcome the new members who subscribed onto my channel. Thank you so very much. And to my old returning subscribers, guys, thank you so very much for the love and support. Yes, without you, I won't be able to always come back on here and bring these videos to you. So I see you and I don't take none of you guys for granted. So ladies and gentlemen, this is quite an embarrassment. And definitely most of the Africans who are watching this video, I'm sure you are not shocked. And probably some of you have stories whereby you have seen foreigners having passports of some of these African countries. They don't even belong here. And you probably ask yourself how. And of which some of them have even managed to go to pass some of these countries. Now, before I go further, allow me to give you this short story, a lively example of I myself. One day here in Uganda on Entebbe International Airport, I was escorting one of my guests. I do have an Airbnb. He was a Black American. He was going back to America. And then when he reached the airport, there is this gentleman who always stands there and he is checking people's passports. And this Black American obviously had an American passport. So this Ugandan dude at the Entebbe International Airport started asking him that, hey, you are a Ugandan, right? And this Black American guest of mine kept on telling him that, hey, I'm actually not Ugandan, I am Black American. He kept on insisting, I am seeing that you have been in Uganda severally. Why do you keep on buying visas? You're supposed to always come in here and enter freely. I can help you to get a Ugandan passport. And then my guest calls me and he's like, hey, can you come and help me here? Because this guy is telling me things that I think they are not even possible because I am not a Ugandan. So the guy was like, come on, you know how things work. Come on, you can have my number. So immediately it clicked into my mind. I'm like, oh, so literally what this guy wants, he wants money. That is corruption. He wants money. Yes, he can actually help you and get you the passport. They can lie and give you a tribe that you don't even belong to, and they end up giving you a passport. At that point, as a foreigner, you might feel excited, and be like, oh, wow, I actually have two passports. I have a passport that can actually allow me to enter Africa, to some of these African countries as an African, whereby I don't even require to get a visa. But after some time, you go into problems because you won't be able to explain yourself. Because imagine you will go back to the airport and he's not the same dude who has worked at the airport. And you'll be in trouble. You will start explaining yourself, you as an American, why are you having an African passport and you are not African? So, ladies and gentlemen, as a foreigner coming to some of these African countries, you have to be very careful. Yes, I'm not going to sit down here and gatekeep this. When you are at that airport, you're going to find people who are telling you, you know what, stop we are saying that you've been coming to the continent severally and you are a black, I mean, we can help you to get a passport. But that is a trap. They are putting you in problems because after some time, you won't be able to use that passport. You'll be deported. You go into embarrassments and you won't be able to actually explain yourself. And when you go back and say, this, do this, and this actually helped me to get the passport, they'll start saying, no, we don't know about that. Because yes, the system can deny you. They will say, we don't know about that. But in actual sense, they are the same people who literally helped you to get the passport. Because at this point, you will ask yourself, as a Somali prime minister, how did he get the Kenyan passport? Is he the one who went into the Kenyan system and printed himself a passport? Of course, no. There has to be somebody on the ground who made for him that passport, you know. So, ladies and gentlemen, with this incident, if these allegations are true, the questions goes back to both countries, Somali and Kenya. How did this Somali prime minister end up getting a Kenyan passport? How? And also, this also raises a question about powerful people here in Africa. Do powerful people have to get a special kind of treatment in terms of getting passports? Because if it was like that, also, he wouldn't have been deported. They wouldn't have denied him to enter Kenya. You see? So that is false. So literally, ladies and gentlemen, this is quite shameful that this is actually happening here in the continent. Our countries deserve immigration systems that are transparent, secure, and free from corruption. Passports should represent lawful citizenship, not political influence, not because you're a foreigner, probably you are palm colored, not because you're privileged, not because you have more money or connections. So literally, ultimately, Africans want institutions that they can trust, where the law applies equally to everyone, regardless of their position or status. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, with this episode, that is what I thought of delivering today. I'd like to know what you think down in the commentary, as you also help me maybe answer these questions. Do you believe corruption makes it easier for some foreigners to obtain African passport illegally? If these allegations are proven true, what consequences should those involved face? Should African government conduct regular audits of their passports and citizenship systems? How can African countries strengthen immigration and identity management to reduce fraud? Do you think powerful politicians are treated differently from ordinary citizens? What reforms would you like to see to improve accountability in African government? Yeah. So I would like to know what you think about this video. I don't really want to make it very long because I don't want you to be bored. But in case you've watched this video up to this far, I'm thinking you have enjoyed it. Yes, I guess we shall meet again in another video that I'll be uploading. And also, if you haven't subscribed on the channel, please, I hope you do consider subscribing. Tap on that bell so that every time I upload anything on here, you're always notified. Otherwise, have a lovely day. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.